Hello everybody, this is Shane Garner with Critical Alert, and today we're going to be showing you our Critical Alert CommonPath Enterprise Alarm Management application. And what that means is we're going to show how we can manage assignments, workflows, and notifications based on, in this case, we're going to show equipment alarm management, medical device coming in with events that are showing up on a system. So we have a web application. This is going to be accessible as part of what you're going to get with our alarm management software. And in here, you're going to be able to go in and, first of all, we want to manage assignments. So because we want to figure out how we're going to get these notifications out to the care team associated with that particular unit. And what we'll do is we'll look at a current shift today. So this is our day shift, our 7A to 7P shift right now. And on here we can see our care team assigned on the left-hand side. This is their name and their role. Some of them may have more than one role, so there'll be a drop down to choose a different role, for example. And there's a number associated with each of these care providers, and what this is their workload. And that means the number of patients that they're assigned. So that's important, especially when you're trying to run a 3-to-1, 5-to-1, 7-to-1 ratio like we do on this case, so that you don't overload staffers to patients. On the right-hand side, we have these roles across the top. You can have as many roles as you wish. Down each one, you see the names that are associated. And on the left-hand side, we have our room and patient information, as well as any patient status, in this case, fall risk. So I can see Ms. Hertz has a fall risk status right now that's active on that patient. Now, if we want to create an assignment, it's as simple as clicking on your next assignment. So let's go ahead and set up the night shift. And these can be scheduled in advance. So you can have all your assignments completed for the week, and they can automatically change and rotate at that shift change. So at 7 p.m., this could take automatic effect, or you can come in and start this shift when you're ready manually as well. So again, we have our care team on the left that's associated with this unit, and I want to assign them over here to the right. So I simply click on Charles. It's going to highlight the patient care tech column where I can easily go in and click and assign Charles to his appropriate patients. We can also do the same for the nurse. So I'll take Alice, assign Alice to a couple rooms here. I'll take Cheryl and assign her to a few of these other rooms. In addition, if we have a charge nurse, Andrew for example, I can go ahead and just click on a column and it'll assign Andrew to the entire unit, which is very common on a shift. So if we wanted to take somebody out, we can simply click on the X to remove them and put somebody else in if we're making a change in the middle of the shift. We can also remove the charge nurse both by clicking the column and bringing in a different charge nurse and assigning, in this case I want to do both maybe, or I want to take Andrew out. So this is different ways that you can have this assignment. You can have respiratory therapy added as a role if you wish to show those assignments. So there's a lot of good capability and flexibility with the assignment editing software. All right. So we're going to go ahead and cancel that. What I want to do is kind of show you what would happen if we have an alert coming into the system and show you what happens with that. You have the ability to monitor it within this web application as well, and this could be broadcasted on a different board. So I'm going to start an alert. So I have initiated an event that's from Bernoulli, and we're going to go in and we're going to look at workflows, and we're going to look at active workflows. And I can see it here that I have a pulse ox warning that's active right now on this particular unit in this room and who that's associated with. And again, this could be displayed just via the web app, or it could be on a large monitor inside of a command center possibly, where you can view this information. Now also what's occurring at the same time here is we're getting this notification sent out to a mobility solution. In this case, I'm using a SpectraLink Versity. On the right-hand side, we can see the primary nurse who's assigned to this room has received that pulse ox warning. It's for room 101, bed A. In this case, we're getting an SpO2 limit 90 less than or equal to 91. So this was set up to say anytime that SpO2 drops below 91, send me an alert. Down on the bottom there, we can also see that you can accept and reject or call back to the room. And in this case, this patient is a fall risk. That's important information. I may want to call back and say, to this patient, please don't move, don't try to get out of bed. I'm on my way and we'll take care of that for you and get you situated. Alternatively, if this staff member is tied up with a patient and cannot respond to this request immediately, they can go ahead and reject that request, and that's going to automatically go to the secondary care provider. So in this case, we're using say a nurse buddy or a charge nurse or another nurse on a unit, and they're going to get that same ability to accept and reject or call back to the room as well. There's also an icon for click for patient monitoring where you can go in and view that specific detail of what's going on. So you can get strip data, monitor data, whatever it may be that you're trying to manage on that. So we see that event that's coming in. Alternatively, we also have an optional monitoring station that you could have on the units or in a command center or somewhere locally where you can actually see all of these alerts and events that are coming through. So I can be notified that there is a workflow that's kicked off or some sort of event notification that's going out. In this case, we're monitoring alarms. And I can see what that status is. So I know that it's how long it's been going for. I know who's been associated and assigned to. So I can get a lot of that detailed information optionally if you wish to see that. And what we're going to go ahead and do is stop that event, and that'll clear that out of the system. Now this screen has a built-in refresh rate. So in this case, we have a 10-second refresh rate. So once that screen refreshes, then it'll automatically clear that off the screen, and you can monitor that as it just did there. So we can see that that event is no longer in the system, and we're currently monitoring no activity. Now, how we get that out to the individual users goes into where we manage these actual workflows. And so this is our workflow designer where we go in and manage and associate those workflows. And what we're looking at here is a medical device alarm. So we're going to look at that particular event, that pulse ox warning in this case. So here I have a name and description at the top. I can just determine whether or not I want this associated to a specific category for reporting information, which is also very important. We'll talk about that in a minute. We can associate a priority, and this is based on the device that you're alerting. So certain devices have the ability to change their ringtones or vibration pattern or anything associated based on that particular level. So if we were to talk about Vocera, for example, Vocera has different kerplunk sounds based on low, medium, or high. And then if we were to change this to a critical, for example, it would automatically alert via text-to-speech. So you have the ability to change that based on what your preferred edge device platform will be at the client site. We can also allow accept or rejecting, so we can choose whether or not we want to accept or reject this particular request or workflow, as I showed you on the mobile device itself. We have a start and stop event. This is what we call triggers. These are the alert notifications that are coming from that, in this case, Bernoulli or Capsule. They will tell us, I have an event that's starting, and they will let us know when that event has stopped. Typically when that device has been reset or the alert has timed out or it has self-cleared. Alternatively, we can, if we are interfacing with nurse call, we can also show where we can turn on lights outside the room and display that information. Now down below here we have the assignments. So the assignments can be set up by a role, by a group, by an escalation. So an escalation means that if that particular role is not assigned to that patient, for example, the charge is also the RN and there's no RN assigned, it will automatically go to the charge. Groups, so if we want to have a ventilator, we can have that go out to the respiratory group and they can all be alerted, for example. Or in this case, we're just notifying the nurse who's assigned to that specific location. And again, the roles are flexible. You can, if I wanted to make it go to a respiratory therapist, I could choose to do that, or I could leave it as the registered nurse in this case. And then it could either go to the person who's assigned to that location or on the unit shift itself. So anybody that's associated to that shift can be alerted. And again, you can control and manipulate this on an individual alert and workflow as desired. So once we send a notification, we determine whether we wait, do we escalate after a certain period of time. But another great feature about this is all of this editing is drag and drop. So if I wanted to come in and add a wait action before I send it out, I just drop it in. Now that wait action can be configured down to seconds or minutes. So a good example is a ventilator. Sometimes ventilators go off every time I cough, sneeze, or take a deep breath or yawn. And it may only go off for a half a second or a second. And we don't want to inundate the care team with these alerts and this alarm, fatigue that's driving them. And so we want to be able to allow you to drop a wait action in. Let's just say it's 2 seconds. And if the alert is still going after 2 seconds, then the notification would go out to the care team. So you have the ability to put that in. And again, it's drag and drop. So I can move it up or down, or I can simply take it back out. So all of the editing is drag and drop, and that's because this software was designed with the user and client in mind. We want you to manage your own system. We could manage it for you, but ultimately we made it simple so that the client and end user could go in and self-manage and self-maintain the system and make changes, which will occur on a common basis. Maybe not every day, but every so often you will have to make changes, especially if you bring in new alerts or new equipment. You want to be able to configure those workflows and manage those alerts out to the individual care team and or staffers. So a lot of great capability within this and flexibility to allow you to manage that. And again, the important thing is that all of this will go into reporting. So we will be able to report on everything that's occurring with this alarm management application in this case, with our Critical Alert CommonPath analytics platform. So we can give you the simplified basic details that let you know that this was the alert that came in, this is how long that alert went for, this is who was notified, whether or not they accepted and rejected or even called back to the room. We give you all of that detailed information, and then ultimately when it was satisfied, whether it was cleared or somebody went in the room to cancel that notification. So it's a complete package. You get everything with the notification. You have options on how you wish to view that. So I can have it, via a whiteboard view, just a simple desktop application, or I can have even a console display that can be set up somewhere where you can monitor that information. So again, a lot of flexibility, a lot of capability within the application to allow you to manage that.